Leo, beloved heart of the zodiac, what if I told you right now that your struggle is over? That heaven has been watching everything, and as of today, the decision has been made. God is paying you back with favor, with protection, with divine resources, and yes, with money. You didn't just stumble upon this message. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. And not just confirmation of your pain, or of how hard you've been trying, but of a supernatural shift that has already begun moving behind the scenes in your life. Right now. At this very moment. You're not watching this because you're curious. You're here because your soul has been calling out and heaven has answered. You've carried a lot, haven't you? Maybe more than anyone knows. The pressure to be strong, to always show up, to keep going even when your own tank has been empty. The world may have applauded your strength, but only you and God know what it really cost you. And yet, through it all, you stayed kind. You stayed generous. You kept believing, even in silence. Now the tables are turning. You're entering into a season where God is no longer just sustaining you, He is funding you. This isn't just financial. This is personal. This is spiritual. This is about restoring what was taken, elevating what was overlooked, and unlocking the divine resources that were always meant for you. Imagine a life where you no longer live from paycheck to paycheck, or energy crash to energy crash, but instead from purpose, from clarity, from flow. That's what this message is activating inside of you right now. And Leo, I need you to pause and claim this. Type in the comments, I receive my divine funding. I am ready. Say it, type it, feel it in your chest. Because speaking it out loud and putting it into words sets the frequency in motion. The moment you claim it, you shift into it. This is spiritual law, emotional truth, energetic alignment, and practical activation. The reason you're here isn't just to be uplifted. It's to be reminded of who you are. You were never meant to survive. You were designed to lead. You are not here to chase provision. Provision is here to follow your purpose. Let me take a moment to thank you deeply for being here. Every time you like, comment, and share these videos, you're not just supporting this channel, you're strengthening a global soul family. A community of chosen ones just like you, rising in their truth, owning their worth, and walking in divine alignment. And trust me, you're going to want to stay until the end of this video, because what the universe is about to reveal in the next few minutes will shift your mindset, your finances, and your timeline forever. So tell me, Leo, what did your soul do right to lead you here today? Leo, you were never created to be ordinary. The fire within you isn't just symbolic, it's energetic truth. In the language of astrology, Leo stands at the center of the zodiac like the sun itself, radiant, life-giving, bold. But when the sun is forced to shine without rest, without recognition, without sacred pause, it begins to burn out quietly, silently, invisibly. That's what has happened to many of you. Somewhere along the way, you began to confuse your divine radiance with responsibility. You believed that in order to be loved, you had to be useful. In order to be safe, you had to stay strong. In order to be chosen, you had to hide your need for healing. And yet, here you are. Still carrying light. Still showing up. Still holding space for others, even on the days when your own soul trembled under the weight of silence. That's what makes you chosen, not perfection, not performance, but perseverance. Not that you've never fallen, but that something deeper inside of you refused to stay down. What many don't realize is that the chosen ones aren't the loudest, or the most visible, or the most applauded. They are often the ones who have walked through the darkest valleys with a quiet faith that something better was still coming. In energetic terms, being chosen isn't an egoic elevation, it's a frequency match. It means that your heart has been calibrated to carry divine vision in a chaotic world. It means you've been entrusted with a flame that doesn't go out, even when the winds of doubt, trauma, and isolation try to blow it away. You've been trained by trial, refined by resistance. Your strength has been forged in seasons where no one clapped, and no one saw, and no one came to rescue you. And still you didn't curse the light. You didn't become what hurt you. You held on. That's what heaven honors. And now, everything is shifting. Not because you've finally become good enough to be blessed, but because the seed you planted long ago, perhaps in tears, perhaps in silence, is finally being watered by divine timing. We are not here to prove we are worthy. We are here to remember that we already were. This is not a test. This is a return. You see, Leo, your role in the zodiac is not simply to shine, but to ignite. You are the match. The signal. The roar that awakens others out of their own sleepwalking. That's why your battles were deeper. Your isolation felt louder. Your disappointments hit harder. Because you were not just navigating life, you were being sculpted into a vessel of influence. Your voice carries codes. Your presence shifts atmospheres. Your pain. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Even now, the universe has placed this message in front of you because a sacred reminder was needed. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. What you've endured has not made you less valuable, it has made you magnetic to divine momentum. The breakthroughs you've been praying for aren't random gifts, they're assigned outcomes to your soul's decision to remain open when it had every reason to shut down. Let's not romanticize suffering. But let's also not overlook what it creates in us: depth, empathy, intuition, truth. These are the true markers of a chosen one, not image, but integrity. Not glamour, but gravity. Not applause, but alignment. So if your heart is still soft after everything, if you still find yourself hoping for healing, dreaming of something better, believing in something sacred even when everything in the world tells you to stop, then yes, you are chosen. Say it. Write it. Declare it now in the comments: I am the chosen one. Not because I'm perfect. Because I didn't give up the light. And that light is about to lead me home. The ending of a scarcity cycle rarely arrives with fireworks or applause. Most often, it begins in silence with a subtle but undeniable shift in the inner landscape. For Leo, this shift is not merely financial, but energetic, and it's happening now beneath the surface of everything. Astrologically, we are entering a profound activation period shaped by the dance between Venus and Jupiter, as well as the intense polarity between Taurus and Scorpio, the axis that governs material value, emotional security, and energetic self-worth. This isn't just a transit. It's an invitation to rewrite your story of abundance. For Leo, a sign ruled by the sun, there's always been a magnetic pull toward visibility, generosity, and shining brightly for others. But in recent years, that radiance may have felt dimmed by burnout, financial pressure, or an invisible ceiling that refused to move, no matter how hard you pushed. This moment offers something different. Not a demand for more effort, but an alignment. Not another battle, but a blessing waiting to be received. Imagine the sun breaking through thick fog, not because it forced its way forward but simply because the fog knew it was time to clear. That's what's happening in your life now. True wealth, in this new paradigm, is not earned by overextension or hustle alone. It is magnetized by energetic clarity and purpose. There is a frequency to prosperity, and Leo, when you step into your authentic power not as a performer, but as a sovereign being, you naturally begin to attract the resources, people, and opportunities that are coded for your higher mission. That's the shift from survival abundance to sovereign abundance. The old version of you worked to feel worthy. The new version of you knows you already are. Energetically, this moment is supported by golden frequencies, colors like royal gold and deep sunlight yellows, which remind your body of warmth, sovereignty, and solar vitality. These tones are not just visually symbolic, they are vibrational tools. Wearing them, surrounding yourself with them, even meditating on their glow can help regulate your nervous system, lifting the emotional heaviness that comes from long-standing financial fears. They remind your energy field that prosperity is not something you chase, but something you remember. In numerology, the number 7 governs divine timing and spiritual attunement. It's the flow that arrives when you let go of force. Number 8 is the symbol of infinity, showing us that wealth is not a destination, but a rhythm that expands and returns. And 21 carries the energy of rebirth, new life, and the completion of old limitations. These aren't just numbers. They are codes. When used intention-aligned affirmations, journaling, or visualization, they begin to shape the field around you, magnetizing the vibration of abundance before the evidence even arrives. What's required now isn't just budgeting your money, but budgeting your energy. Spiritual budgeting means knowing where your attention, time, and focus go and aligning them with your purpose. It means spending less on proving yourself, and investing more in becoming yourself. One practical method is to use the 70-30 rule. Devote 70% of your resources to fueling your passion, your craft, your healing, and your vision. Keep the remaining 30% for rest, integration, and sacred savings. Not just money but time, space, energy. Scarcity trained you to expect collapse. But this new energy is asking you to prepare for expansion. Let that sink in. Your nervous system might still be wired for survival, but your soul is ready to thrive. It's time to build structures that can hold the breakthrough you've prayed for. Not because you're greedy but because you're growing. Not because you need validation but because you're stepping into a season where God, the universe, and your higher self have already decided, you will be funded. Not later. Now. When we speak of money in this context, we're not merely referring to physical currency. We are speaking of a vibration, a frequency of receptivity, trust, and divine alignment. The third part of this journey is not about chasing wealth, it is about becoming the kind of person who can hold it, honor it, and expand it in alignment with their soul. For many who walk the path of the chosen ones, poverty consciousness was not a personal failing but a karmic inheritance deeply embedded in generational trauma, ancestral patterns, and early life emotional imprints. That's why affirming your worthiness is not just a motivational quote, it is a sacred ritual of remembering who you are and what you carry. You are not poor. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are a divine investment seeded by heaven, nourished by every storm you've survived, and now being called into harvest. The law of attraction responds not just to your desires, but to your identity. If you ask for financial breakthrough while holding the frequency of, "I am not enough," the universe honors your belief, not your wish. It is not punishment, it is precision. That's why you must rise into a new name, a new truth. You are not someone trying to manifest. You are already chosen. Already anointed. Already approved. Imagine yourself as a sacred garden, one that was overgrown, neglected, or left barren. But what if the lack wasn't because you were flawed, but because heaven was waiting for the right season to rain? What if this is the season? That is where the reprogramming begins. The story you tell yourself about money, value, and your place in the world is not fixed. You can rewrite it, starting now. One of the most powerful self-healing exercises is to begin your day with a statement like, "I am an investment from heaven." Not metaphorically, energetically. Each time you say it, you dissolve one more layer of the false identity that said you had to earn love, that you had to prove your worth, that you had to hustle to be seen. The Empress in the tarot does not chase. She magnetizes. She creates from stillness and beauty. The sun brings illumination, joy, and innocence restored. The Ace of Pentacles is the moment the universe says, "Here. You're ready. Take it." These cards together are not just a lucky pull, they are a divine code. A trinity of rebirth, recognition, and reward. And they are whispering this truth to you now: abundance does not come because you are lucky. It comes because you finally remembered your true name. The name beneath all roles, all traumas, all expectations. The name the stars knew before you were born. So let me ask you gently, but clearly, what story about money are you still repeating that doesn't belong to you? Whose voice told you that you had to suffer to be spiritual, or that wealth was only for others? And are you willing right now to set that story down like a heavy coat you no longer need? If something within you is rising, if your heart whispers, yes, then take a deep breath. Let this be your moment of identity shift. You are not chasing gold. You are becoming it. If you feel this truth in your bones, drop a comment, "I am the treasure. I am the shift." Because sometimes, claiming your new name out loud is how heaven recognizes you again. Dear Leo, when you keep seeing 777, it's not random, it's the frequency of divine intelligence echoing back your readiness. In numerology, this sacred number is called the spiritual strategist, a divine code that signals alignment, breakthrough, and the opening of your higher mission. It means you're no longer being called to survive, you're being summoned to lead. And not from ego, but from essence. The universe is not waiting for you to become perfect, it's waiting for you to become real. This is your sign that the pressure you've been under was not punishment, it was preparation. Leo, for so long you've carried the weight of expectations, debt, dreams delayed, and responsibilities no one else could see. But now, a shift is happening, not just in the stars, but in the strategy heaven is writing for you. As the Leo-Aquarius axis becomes active, your cosmic blueprint is being activated to step out of hiding and begin the life you were actually designed to live. This axis rules destiny, brilliance, and innovation. But most importantly, it connects the heart, Leo, with the collective, Aquarius. So this chapter isn't just about you making money or being recognized. It's about you embodying your soul's mission in such a radiant way. It heals others just by witnessing you. What if you stopped chasing the money and let your mission call it in? What if wealth wasn't something to work for, but something that followed you as a byproduct of your purpose? This is the dimension of co-creation we're entering now, Leo. When your actions flow from inner alignment, the law of attraction responds not with delay but with divine immediacy. Heaven is no longer testing you, it's funding you. But only if you say yes. Not to your fears, but to your function. Energetically, the 777 portal is like a soul password unlocking what was previously hidden: divine clients, aligned partnerships, sacred relocations, financial restorations. But these will not arrive in chaos. They will arrive in clarity. And clarity only comes when you start asking better questions. Ask yourself this: if money were no longer an issue, what kind of life would I finally allow myself to live? That question is not hypothetical, it is an invitation. Because Spirit is watching to see what you are willing to claim, and what you still reject in yourself. If you're being funded, what do you build? If all the doors open, where do you walk? If fear disappeared, what would you finally say yes to? Leo, now is the time to write your purpose plan. Not a business plan. Not a 5-year performance strategy. But a sacred document where you align your daily actions with the divine mission etched in your soul. Write as if your angels will read it. Because they will. Your life is not meant to be a reaction. It is meant to be a revelation. You were not made to settle. You were made to stir the atmosphere. And I invite you to ground this now. Leave a comment below and write just one thing you would do today if you knew that God has decided to financially support your purpose from this moment forward. That act of writing is not small. It is a spiritual contract. It is the vibration of faith turned into words. It is a prayer heaven has been waiting to hear. You've already done the hardest part, surviving. Now it's time to do the holy part, living. Not just for yourself, but for everyone your light will heal. Leo, this is not just about your personal miracle, it's about a divine legacy unfolding through you. What's arriving in your life today is far bigger than bills being paid or short-term comfort. The financial blessing you're receiving is part of a higher assignment, one written in your soul contract long before you were born. You weren't chosen just to survive. You were chosen to rebuild, to lead, to lift generations. You see, there's something very specific about the Leo spirit. It is royal not because it demands attention but because it naturally radiates light. And light was never meant to be hidden. In moments when you felt forgotten or humiliated, you weren't being punished. You were being prepared. Your silence trained your listening. Your lack sharpened your compassion. Your delays strengthened your discernment. And now, heaven sees that you're finally ready to hold what others could not. The weight of impact. The burden of blessing. Just like Joseph, who was betrayed, falsely imprisoned, and abandoned yet rose to govern a nation in famine, your trials were never wasted. Just like Ruth, who lost everything, followed a quiet whisper of faith, and became the grandmother of kings, your losses are becoming doorways. And like Daniel, who kept his integrity in hostile territory and was elevated because of it, you are being watched not for perfection, but for purity of purpose. When the divine funds someone, it's not because they are perfect. It's because they are trustworthy with power. The blessing entering your life is not a reward for your effort, it's a confirmation of your readiness. It's not about escapee, it's about establishment. You are being positioned as a portal of change, not just for yourself but for those who are silently watching you and hoping you make it. What if your healing is the key to unlocking your children's peace? What if your courage to accept help today becomes the inspiration someone else needs to rise tomorrow? This is the time to teach what you've been taught in the dark. Share what worked. Open doors where others shut you out. Write. Speak. Mentor. Create workshops. Make content that liberates. Don't hoard the wisdom. Leo, your story is your service. Your testimony is your leadership. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out for a reason. Not to show off, but to shine the way. That's what chosen means. It's not superiority. It's surrender. It's responsibility. And it's time. If your soul knows that you were born to lead the way for others, if you feel the pull to turn your blessing into a beacon, comment now, I am ready to lead the way. Not because everything is perfect, but because your heart is aligned. Because light does not wait for permission to shine. It just shines. So here you are, dear soul, not by accident, not by coincidence, but because something divine inside you was ready to remember. Maybe you started this video feeling uncertain, weighed down by invisible battles no one else can see. But somehow, through every word, every breath you took during this message, you started to feel the subtle shift. That tiny flutter in your heart? That was your soul whispering, I'm ready. Ready to stop surviving. Ready to be funded. Ready to be chosen. You see, you were never meant to do this alone. The spiritual funding you're about to receive isn't just for bills or comfort. It's heaven's signature on your mission contract. And that contract says, you are the light sent to lead. But how will you step into that light? How will you move now that you know you're not just hoping for miracles, you are the miracle? Will you keep this revelation to yourself, or will you let it ripple into generations beyond your own? I want you to take a moment and breathe into this truth. You don't have to force your way forward anymore. You don't have to push or prove or pretend. You don't need to be louder to be worthy. You just need to be aligned. You just need to remember who walks with you and who sent you. What if the only thing standing between you and the door that's already open is your decision to walk through it? What if everything begins with your courage to comment below, 777 I'm ready to be funded? Because writing it out is more than just interaction, it's activation. Your words are a key. And every key unlocks momentum. Do you trust yourself enough to open what's been waiting? And maybe, just maybe, someone else needs this message too. Someone close to you who's losing hope, forgetting their power, or secretly praying for confirmation that their season of lack is over. Will you be the one who sends them this video? Will you be the bridge between despair and destiny for someone else? If this message spoke to your spirit, if it cracked something open inside you, I invite you to like this video, subscribe to the Eternal Mindfulness channel, and share it with someone who needs divine funding just like you. Remember, this space was created for people like you, not just to watch, but to awaken. To become vessels of light, legacy, and leadership. You are not just receiving support from the universe. You are becoming the support system for generations to come. Walk forward now, not because you're trying to make something happen, but because it already has. You're not just funded, Leo. You are chosen. And from this day forward, walk like the doors are already open because they are.